You can have a strong balance sheet and still feel uneasy about retirement, taxes, and what happens with your family after you're gone. Today on 5QIQ Financial Power Ups with Trajan Wealth, we're talking about the part of wealth that you can't see on the statement. So welcome back to 5QIQ Financial Power Ups from Trajan Wealth. And I'm your host, Jeff Jr., with fiduciary advisors Marty Bryant and Corbett Leduc. Today's episode is about building beyond the balance sheet. We're going to look at the biggest mistakes made in the first 5 years of retirement, how families can pass down wealth without passing down conflict, the tax mistakes investors make without realizing it, the signs that a financial plan has become just too darn complicated, and what a truly successful financial life looks like beyond just having more money. So if you're wondering what all of this is really for, tell us your story at trajanwealth.com/5QIQ. So let's get into it. Now, we spend decades talking about getting to retirement, but not nearly enough time talking about how to live there very well. I'm Jeff Jr., founder and CEO of Trajan Wealth, along with fiduciary experts Marty Bryant and Corbett Leduc. Now, our first listener asks, what are the biggest mistakes people often make in the first 5 years of retirement? So if you're approaching this chapter or you're in it now, share your questions at trajanwealth.com/5QIQ. So let's talk about the biggest mistakes people make in the first 5 years. I'll start with number one, which we talked about before, which was getting too darn emotional about their investments and looking at it every day. They need to be out enjoying retirement.
I've got one that's kind of controversial. Taking Social Security too early. You know, the people that are like, I want it now. It's mine. I should have it now. Right. Mm-hmm. That can be something that could really derail your plan down the line.
Yep. Depending on how long you live. Mm-hmm. Or if you need the money right now is when you want to take it early. If you think you're going to die soon, or if you need the money and you can't live without it, then you want to take it. But otherwise you might be better off deferring it.
Well, it would have to be if you're starting it early and you need the money now. If you're still going to continue to work, you got to make sure that you fall under that earnings restriction.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. And that usually isn't enough money to live off of. An early Social Security benefit and $13,000 or whatever the earnings restrictions are now, what they've moved up to. But I think it's like 20,800. It's not enough.
Yeah, I think it's 24,200, something like that. And it's per tax filer. Because I just learned that the other day from
it is.
So it's not filing joint. It's per that one person who is still working if they turn it on. So
I've often seen people that had a lot of money not spending enough,
right?
And then people who had too little money spending way too much.
Yeah. I call that lifestyle creep. Creep. Right. So I don't mean like Corbett creeping around the corner. I mean, like, you don't adjust your spending. Right. You know, you become accustomed to going out to supper all the time, or just going to stop for a happy hour here or there. And when you're calculating your true hard costs, you're not including those little discretionary expenses in there, which can really add up.
Mm-hmm. Good Lord. Going out to supper. How old are you?
Supper club, Midwest. Have
you
ever been to a supper club?
Once, I think, actually, out in Wisconsin. So
there you go. Yeah. You went to the cheese buffet?
Luckily, it was not the cheese buffet. So
you're missing out.
Oh, I know. I'm sure I was.
Yeah, Corbett, we were raised with values. That's the part of the country we come from.
Yes. Very true. Yes. Oh, God, how I could take and run with that.
Good question. But
certainly the ability to, not factor that, if I'm going to spend all this money in the beginning, like I'll do all these things, like, okay, well, hey, you're sucking down your capital that you're going to need later on down the road.
Well, what about sequence of return risk? Something that you can't plan for.
On top of that, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, taking on new debt.
Yep.
Or go ahead.
Here's another one. I was going to say not consulting professionals because they're going to charge you something.
Right.
Imagine how much they could save you or keep you.
Yep. Exactly. Sometimes the cheapest things in life are the most expensive.
Darn right. Now, those early years, they set the tone for your entire retirement story. Now, next, we're going to talk about something even more delicate: how to pass down your wealth without passing down resentment. And if that's on your mind, simply tell us about it at trajanwealth.com/5QIQ. Now stay tuned. We'll be right back after this brief message. A family office is a team built to handle the three biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Now you're back with 5QIQ Financial Power-Ups from Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr. with fiduciary advisors Marty Bryant and Corbett Leduc. Our next listener asks, how can families pass down wealth without it causing conflict between the generations? If you've seen money create tension in your family or someone else's, and they're out there, share your thoughts or concerns at trajanwealth.com/5QIQ. So the short answer is get a trust and make sure it's updated. What do you guys say?
That's the biggest thing. But I think for a lot of people, they don't get into the granularity of different things within that trust or like a will, because I can see it firsthand from my old in-laws where the father passed and there was 3 brothers and there was not clear communication on who was going to get what. And it just turned into this huge storm, just like explosion of different things. And it wasn't really so much about the money part. It was about, this, you said I could have that, dad said I could have that. If it's not documented and written down, I say that's probably the biggest thing because the trust, that's the 10,000 foot view. But when you get down to the nitty gritty of, maybe like a comic book collection or, record collection, whatever, with my ex-in-laws, it was the China collection. That was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back where, no, mom told me I could have it. Well, dad said I could have it. And then if it's not documented, it's then, her word versus his word and things like that.
Well, that's the open communication and talks that you have to have. I had a family, they started the communication process and the beneficiaries went through the house and they wrote their name down with a piece of tape and they taped it on the items that they wanted. So there was no doubt about who gets what. Yeah. Education.
One thing to keep in mind, though, too, is a will doesn't avoid probate. So if you're really concerned about family conflict and family fighting, that's what probate is. Probate really intensifies family fighting because it's really a lawsuit against the family and the family is fighting each other. And nobody comes out of that a winner. There's going to be hurt feelings. Everybody's going to lose something, whether you lose a good relationship or whatever it may be. So a trust is really the way to go. Yeah. And one thing I'd add to that, when you do a trust, make sure you're doing it with a qualified person. There's a lot of people who can just whip out documents on their computer as opposed to somebody who truly understands your situation is looking out for your family. And that's something that we have here at Trajan Wealth is Trajan Estate.
Yep.
Qualified attorneys, paralegals, legal assistants, you name it, we have it here, and we can get you set up properly. So good question. Our next listener zooms in on taxes, where a lot of the hidden leaks and often missed opportunities live. The question is, what tax mistakes do investors make most often without realizing it? If you've ever been surprised by a tax bill, this one is for you. So let's get into it. What tax mistakes do investors make?
So I'm gonna talk about the DIYer, the do-it-yourself investor. Maybe neglecting tax loss harvesting, not understanding. So now let's say that somebody thinks that they're tax loss harvesting, but then they trigger a wash sale in January when they go back to try to make a repurchase. Holding or ignoring holding periods.
Right.
right? Not
those,
holding it long enough to get a
those are the little ones, but I think it's the big ones that Jeff is really trying to hit on. And for a lot of people, I mean, let's just say for an example, let's say someone had a ton of Microsoft stock and they bought it in 1992. I mean, they've got a cost basis of like 67 cents.
Right.
Okay. And it's in mom and dad's account. And mom and dad are 84 and 86. And, then they're like, well, we want to sell that. Well, no. If mom and dad are that old, then keep some of that, get that step up in basis, and get it reset and then sell it. Don't sell it for that part. Or
what they do is they suddenly add their children to their house.
Right.
And the house is not going to get that step up in basis.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because now, the kid is suddenly an owner of a house that their parents had for 50 years.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or arbitrarily doing Roth conversions because your neighbor said you should do Roth conversions.
Right. Without knowing the full situation, what their income is.
Or what that additional income, not just tax-wise on the additional income, but if they're in their 60s, they can trigger IRMA.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Or not doing Roth conversions when in reality you probably should have.
Yeah, that's probably the most important thing that I know that I've really started to focus on some of my higher net worth people. I'm like, look, do you realize how much money you're going to have to take out when you turn 73? I get it. Nobody likes to pay taxes, but if you can just take those small tax hits now when you're like 65 and we do it for 8 years, yeah, I get it. Nobody wants to pay taxes, but compared to having to take out $220,000 when you turn 73 because you've done such a good job of saving, that's great. But, a lot of people don't really realize that ticking time bomb that's, built into their IRA accounts and how much that can impact you, not only taxes wise, but Marty hit right on the head with IRMA.
Yeah.
My Medicare goes to $532 a month
or more. It can be more than that. Or let's say that you have a substantial amount and that you're going to be leaving money to your beneficiaries, and there might be, subject to some kind of estate tax, right? You can solve for that with an irrevocable life insurance trust where that life insurance will cover those, the tax bill for your beneficiaries. So there's a bunch of different ways when you consult with professionals that we can teach you how to, weave through that spider web that's been created through our tax code and, who can get them, how the government wants to get the most out of you that they possibly can.
Right. Well, or the, use the thing for that same people that the RMD age, is, if you don't need the income and, if you are very faith-based and you're tithing, the ability to give that money directly from your IRA account. And, for most of those people, they don't itemize. So that, yes, they're giving to the church. That's great, or charities or whatever that might be, but there's really no financial benefit. Yep. Warms your heart. That's nice. But the ability to say, hey, you know what? If you're giving $10,000 to the church every year, and you're not really getting any tax benefit for it, why don't you take $10,000 out of your IRA account? Doesn't count as income, and now you've gotten some type of tax benefit for it compared to just giving it out of cash, and then you're really getting no tax benefit.
And just because you're receiving a tax benefit doesn't mean you care less.
Right.
Well, and in reality, that $10,000 qualified charitable distribution is worth more than $10,000 because that money will never be taxed.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that and that's the benefit of working with a family office. At Trajan Wealth, we've got a family office, meaning we have wealth management, fiduciary advisors, estate planning attorneys, but also CPAs and tax preparers and professionals to help you so all of your financial house is in order. After the break, we'll ask whether your plan has quietly gotten too complicated, and then we'll end with a question you can take to heart tonight. What does a truly successful financial life look like for you? Your question for us, if you have any, let us know at TrajanWealth.com/5QIQ for a chance for us to feature it on the show. So stay with us. Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Junior, founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Call 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
You're listening to 5Q IQ Financial Power-Ups with Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr. with fiduciary advisors Marty Bryant and Corbett Leduc. Now, our next listener asks, what are the signs that a financial plan has become too complicated? If you're a little embarrassed to admit that you fully don't understand your own setup, you're probably in pretty good company here. So let's dig into that one.
I have a new word for you. You ready?
Oh boy. Let's hear it.
It's appropriate. It's okay. There's more than 4 letters in it. It is.
That's good.
Yeah, it is diversification. Diversification, when you have way too many stocks and you don't know what any of them is supposed to be doing for you.
Yeah, I think the better would be overly diversified instead of diversification.
Diversification. Now, come on now. That's a fun word.
But yeah, I think a lot of people actually think, is there such a thing as over diversification?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that they look at their statement and they think they're doing good when they have hundreds or even thousands of stocks on it.
And it's not, and see, if you get too many, even with mutual funds, all of it, it's not going to reduce your risk. It's not reducing your risk. And it really can dilute the performance, the returns that you can get when you have too much. And then it's a burden to manage all of that, right? So at some point, that's going to outweigh the benefit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But most people don't really realize that. Like, oh, I've got 12 different mutual funds. I'm like, like back in the 90s, you had 12 different funds, but of those 12 funds, probably 10 had 60% of the same holdings.
Mm-hmm.
The Dell, the Qualcomm, all those different things. We're just like, do you realize that you've got this overlap? So, kind of the opposite of overly diversified. We're like, yep, I think I'm diversified, but when I look at it, you're like, I'm really not.
I mean, I think the answer to this question is pretty simple. If you're confused.
Yeah.
If you're just confused about what you have and what you got going on, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You really need to understand that it doesn't matter your level of education or knowledge within financial services. If you're confused about what you got going on, you really need to work with somebody who can explain it to you at your level. Because the unfortunate thing I've seen is a lot of financial advisors out there, they baffle you with a lot of BS and they talk over your head intentionally. And that gives you the impression that they know what they're talking about. But in reality, that person who's baffling you has the least amount of understanding. Get with somebody who can explain it to you at your level, because if they can explain it to you at your level, regardless of what level you're on, that tells you that they truly understand what's going on, and that's going to help you.
And that means you have a well-defined retirement plan. You know that this money is going to get my immediate income. This money is going to be for a midterm. This money is doing this. So it's going to give you a very simple and clear defined picture as to what your money is supposed to do for you and when.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think one of my favorite clients, I can still remember the first meeting I had with him. Firefighter, super good guy. He goes, Corbett, I want you to talk to me like I'm an 8-year-old and break it down to me like you are talking to an 8-year-old. Because that's about where I'm at. Because he goes, I do a great job of saving, but the rest of it, I have no clue. I said, absolutely, Mike. The ability for me to explain the hows, the whats, the whens, and the whys, so that you have an understanding, is going to help you look long term and stay with us long term, compared to just like throwing out these numbers. And I once had a great leader who said I had diarrhea of the mouth because I throw too many things out there, and getting into the weeds. So having that conversation of, here's the things that are important, and understanding why they're important.
Hey Corbett, I think you still have that same leader. If I'm not
I know.
I remember having that conversation. But, I've worked with a lot of financial advisors on the training side too. And what I hear oftentimes from financial advisors who get a little overly complicated is, well, if I was them, I'd want to know. That's their response. If I was them, I'd want to know. Well, they're not you. Otherwise, they'd be a financial advisor too. And that's why we need to keep it simple and talk to them like they need to be spoken to, or like I should say, they want to be spoken to. They want to be educated. They want to know. So we have to keep it really at their level. So if you don't understand what you got going on, I think that's really the benefit of Trajan Wealth and the family office. We've got a team of people to support you. So great question. Let's move on to the next one, which is, let's close with this one. This is a good one. Yeah. So with this question underneath all the numbers, what does a truly successful financial life look like beyond just having more money? If you've ever hit a goal and still felt restless, we've got you, and we've all been there. So let's talk about that one. What does a truly successful financial life look like?
To do what you want when you want.
Freedom.
Peace of mind.
Yeah, exactly right.
Peace of mind. Sleeping well at night. Yep. Waking up late. Going to bed late.
Having confidence to spend your money.
Right.
Knowing that you can afford to spend your money.
Right.
Knowing what you can when you can. Travel if you want. Cars, houses, boats, whatever it may be.
Security.
Yeah, because having the confidence you can.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, no matter how rich you are, there's 2,040 minutes in a day. How you choose to spend that time capital is up to you. But having greater wealth, like you said, Jeff, right on the head, that freedom to do whatever you want and not have to worry about it. Can I afford this? Well, can I do these things?
And let's not just correlate that freedom to money. There are plenty of people that, what their perfect freedom is having the cup of coffee on the porch and looking at their property, the pond, and seeing the deer walking across, and, maybe getting some supper off of their own land. So it's different for everyone. But I think for the people, when I'm working with them, is giving them that confidence and peace of mind that when they put their head on their pillow at night, they know that they can wake up in the morning and do whatever it is they want to do.
And to have the blessed life that, they've saved for.
Right.
That's the really, I had a great meeting with a client earlier this week. They had $3.5 million, no debt, all things. And I said, look, you're 81 years old and 79 years old. The truth is you're never going to spend all this money, So don't worry about running out of money. Think about money that you want to leave on as a legacy. And if that legacy money is important to you, then you have to invest for the legacy's people's time frame, 20, 30 years down the road. Don't be so conservative, but the ability to say, hey, this money is for them. We want to be more aggressive as long as they're comfortable with that. But for a lot of people, it's hard for them to kind of unlock that, and it was such a cool meeting because I could see it in his eyes. He's like, wow, I've never thought about it in those terms. Because someone really never took their interest to heart like a true fiduciary.
Yeah. On our Augusta podcast that we do, we kind of had a conversation about it, but we phrased it in, what would you say to your future self?
What did you say, Marty?
I'm still wearing lipstick, getting my nails done. I'm wearing stilettos, and I'm still probably liking long walks on the beach looking for Mr. Right.
That's not what I was thinking you're going to say, but okay, that sounds great in theory.
Yeah, I put the pole away, Corbett.
So today we talked about the early missteps that can derail retirement, how to pass down wealth without passing down conflict, the quiet tax mistakes that eat away at returns, the warning signs of an overcomplicated plan, and what it really means to live a successful financial life beyond just bigger numbers. So which part of our story needs attention right now? Tell us at TrajanWealth.com/5QIQ and share this episode with someone who has done a great job building assets, but still wonders if the plan underneath really fits their life. Starting to plan smarter and dream bigger often takes one meaningful step toward clarity, a step that can literally shape your families today, tomorrow, and forever. So thanks for being with us on 5QIQ Financial Power-Ups with Trajan Wealth. We'll see you next time.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Information discussed during this program is intended for illustrative and entertainment purposes and is not investment advice or an offer to buy or sell any investment. Please consult your financial advisor for questions about your financial situation. All investments involve risk and the potential for loss. Any examples given are strictly hypothetical. Your results may vary. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.